we will cover few topics which are very important. As a matter of fact, 70% of the concepts revolve more or less around these topics. The first term is time constant, which can be easily calculated with this formula -1 divided by real part of the pole. For example, consider a first order system with transfer function 1 upon s plus 2, then its time constant will be equal to 1 by 2. Now consider a second order system with the shown transfer function. The time constant will be equal to 1 and -1 by 2. Now this negative time constant brings a confusion zone which is very important and must be discussed. Negative time constant in reality does not make much sense. Then the question is it valid? Well, we have seen previously the definition of time constant, which you need not to learn, at least for control systems. For the subject control systems, we have another definition. The time constant of a first order system is defined as the time taken by the unit step response to reach 63.2% of the final value. In the previous lecture, when we discussed the time constant prior to the discussion of time constant form, there the time constant is used only analogically. As a matter of fact, you might have seen here that time constant depends only on poles, but previously we have rearranged poles as well as zeros in the time constant form. But the time constant in time constant form is used only analogically. The different time constants are meant only analogically. They don't actually satisfy any of the two shown definitions. And this analogy is used just because it holds true for first order systems. Let's try to understand it through an example. This is a first order system which I have taken randomly. In the definition you will observe the word unit step response. For that, we have to take unit step signal as the input signal, which will give us the Laplace transform of the input signal to be equal to 1 by s. Now we are having the input signal Laplace transform as well as the transfer function, with the help of which we can easily find the Laplace transform of the output signal. From the Laplace transform of the output signal, we can also find the output signal in time domain. Quite easily you can tell 1 by 2 is the final value of the output signal, and time constant is the time at which the output has achieved its 63.2% of its final value. Few of you may also think why there is a very strange number 63.2% in the definition. Well, it is not strange. It is actually equal to 1 minus 1 upon natural logarithm e. Now, equating this expression with the output signal, we can find the time constant which will come out to be equal to 1 by 2. This is the exact procedure how to calculate the time constant for a given system and input, which is valid for even higher order systems and all type of signals. However, it will consume a lot of time to solve for higher order systems. If we try to find the time constant from the formula, then also we will get the same value. But this is true only for this case. As a matter of fact, if we even change the input signal from unit step signal to unit ramp signal, then again we will not have any time constant for the combination, as we will not have any final value. The response in that case will be increasing continuously. So the moral of the story is the concept of time constant originated originally from electrical circuits. The similar definition is valid for first order systems for step signal response, but it is used analogically throughout the subject. Comparing first order systems with other higher order systems, you will get more clarity about the time constant. The transfer function of the first order system is 1 upon s plus 2, and the time constant of the system will be 1 by 2. The transfer function of the third order system is shown. There will be 3 time constants for this system, which are 1, 1 by 2 and 1 by 3, but these are the time constant which we will get after assuming what if different poles of the transfer function are separate first order systems, like 1 upon s plus 1, 1 upon s plus 2 and 1 upon s plus 3. But if we apply any input, for example take step signal, then time constant of the first order system will be same, which is 1 by 2, but you cannot say this for any other higher order systems. If you have to find the time constant, then you have to follow the whole procedure which we have just done. You cannot apply the formula directly. I hope it is now very clear to you what we actually mean with time constant in control systems. You need not to think about electrical circuits, don't bring that definition. And also, in time constant form, if you recall, you will see that we have rearranged not only the poles but also the zeros in such a way that we are getting time constant in numerator also. But obviously, those time constants mean absolutely nothing. They don't satisfy any definition of time constant. They are actually not even time constant. That was just a way to represent the transfer function of a control system. That's it. But whatever parameters you will get in the numerator are not the time constant. The time constant of zeros means absolutely nothing in time constant form. You have to remember this point. Now, let us conclude all the things regarding the time constant which you should keep in mind regarding the subject control systems. Time constant formula you should know, the definition also you should know, and 3 points you should know, which are: the time constant of the system is used analogically only. The time constant of an arrangement depends on the system as well as on the input. When all the time constant of the system are positive, then only the system is said to be stable, otherwise the system is unstable. This topic will come again in the later units, and we will focus particularly on first order and second order systems. The next term is bandwidth. There is no way you are coming across the word bandwidth for the first time. It is present in many subjects with more or less the same definition. However, its calculation procedure may differ for different subjects. Bandwidth is the range of frequencies where the power is at least half of its maximum allowable power. Bandwidth can also be represented in terms of amplitude. The graph which you are seeing on the screen is just an example. Here, this is a very simple example of band pass filter. Bandwidth is a parameter which will be used extensively in frequency analysis. That's why we have put the value of S equal to j omega by ignoring the damping factor. And you will be getting the shown graph for this transfer function. Here, the bandwidth will be equal to 2. The two things which we have studied so far, which are time constant and bandwidth, are actually quite related. Time constant is actually inversely proportional to bandwidth. However, for first order systems, the time constant is exactly equal to 1 upon bandwidth. The third term is stability, which is another very important term of the subject. Let's consider the S-plane. We have seen several times that the poles with the positive real part are unstable poles, and even a single pole with positive real part in the transfer function will make the system unstable. The poles which are present directly on the imaginary axis are referred as marginally stable poles. These usually appear in conjugate pairs, and the poles which have negative real part are stable. Now the another thing is, what will happen if we are having the repeated poles? See, there is a difference between multiple poles and repeated poles. For example, we can have two poles -2 and -3, which are multiple poles in the left hand side of the S-plane. On the other hand, if we have S plus 2 raised to the power 2, which is we are having pole -2 raised to the power 2, then it will be referred as repeated pole. These two words, multiple roots and repeated roots, are not exactly the same. Now let's see what happens when we are having repeated poles on right hand side of the S-plane. If that happens, the system will remain unstable. Similarly, if we are having a system which consists of poles which exist only on the left hand side of the S-plane, then the system will remain stable. But if we are having repeated poles on the imaginary axis, then the system becomes unstable. This point you have to remember, that when we are having single conjugate pair on the imaginary axis, then these poles are referred as marginally stable, but if these poles are repeated, the system becomes unstable. So to conclude this, we can say the poles on the right hand side of the imaginary axis are the stable poles, whereas poles on left hand side of the imaginary axis are stable. This statement relates to absolute stability Actually, there are two types of stability. One is absolute stability, where you have to simply tell whether a particular pole or a system is stable or not. You have to simply answer in yes or no. Like, if we consider two poles P1 and P2, then both are stable. P2 is stable and P1 is stable. The another term is relative stability, where we compare two different poles and their stabilities. Suppose that we have to compare and tell which of the two poles P1 and P2 is more stable, then the poles which are more distant from unstable area border, which is the imaginary axis, are more stable. So we can say P2 is more stable than P1. But it does not mean that we always need two different poles or two different systems for telling relative stability. There are few parameters like gain margin and phase margin which can tell the relative stability of a system, where relative stability indicates how far a system is from the verge of instability. It is quite easy to remember this point, but still there is an analogy. Suppose that there are three guys who went for trekking and found a cliff on the mountain. Obviously, the person who is most distant from the cliff is most secure. The same reasoning applies here. The pole which is most distant from the imaginary axis is most stable. The other two terms are magnitude and accuracy. Magnitude is simply the amplitude of the transfer function, which can be easily found, and for frequency analysis, we ignore the damping factor. Accuracy means how close a measured or calculated value is to the true or actual value. We have seen these five terms, and all these terms will come again in future. Time constant and accuracy depends upon the system as well as on the input, whereas the three middle terms, bandwidth, stability and magnitude, can be defined for a system even without an input signal. Now we will compare these five parameters in negative feedback system and positive feedback system. With respect to a non-feedback system, the time constant of a negative feedback system decreases, whereas bandwidth, stability and accuracy increases. And the reverse is true for positive feedback system. It is very important for you to understand what these actually mean. Suppose that there is a system without feedback with transfer function 1 upon s plus 2, then if we have applied system with feedback, for reference I have taken positive feedback, you will realize the time constant in the first case will be 1 by 2, whereas time constant in the second case increases and becomes 1. Therefore, the time constant of positive feedback system is verified. The same way you can do for all the other parameters also. It depends on you what you prefer. I usually prefer understanding more than my memory power. If you can remember these things, then it is good. But if you don't remember, you can also find it by doing a little bit calculation. Take a simple system and always try to take a stable system. Need not to take a system which is unstable like 1 upon s minus 2. The point is, if suppose there is a multiple select question in an exam and it says the time constant of a negative feedback system generally increases, and the statement is also made for general systems, then obviously we can take a random system by ourselves and can check what actually happens when we apply a feedback in the system. One thing you should keep in mind that these statements are generally true. They are not always true. It depends upon you. If you can remember all these things, then it's fine. But if you cannot, then in exams you can also find it yourself. I usually prefer those approaches in which you have to learn as little as possible.